And Zara's like, well, I mean, if you think a guy likes you and you want to know if, there's something there, you should, hang out with him a little bit more. And she's like, well, I mean, should I just like go up to him, ask if he wants to hang out? And she's like, well, I mean, yeah.
Think of all the times you so truly happy. Do I make you feel that way? Look into my eyes. There's no use in hiding. I feel all the butterflies always on my mind. I feel like I'm floating. You're always on my mind. I feel like I'm glowing.
Hi everyone, it's Kechi, aka OBiGem. Welcome back to the channel. If you're new here, please do not forget to hit the subscribe button and also the notification bell to be notified of all future videos. And if you like what you see, please do hit the like button so I know to keep making content like this. So we're back with another episode of Growing Up Genki, and we're here with Zachary Chestnut. We're actually here in his family home, and we're on the weekend. But in just a bit, we'll fast forward into the week just because there's going to be a lot going on during these episodes. Before I get too ahead of myself, this is Zachary. He is in his family home and he's doing a little bit of work on his computer thinking about a one Hana Hitoshi. So Zachary's been feeling a little bit of the butterflies of late when it comes to Hana. He has a little tiny bit of a puppy love crush on her, but at the same time, he feels like she doesn't feel the same way about him, or in his mind, he's kind of a self-deprecating type of person where he doesn't think that he's good enough or that he's a type of person that anybody would have a crush on and would like in that way. And so he's been kind of wrestling with his feelings because they've just been growing with the way that Hana's been helping him to get better at rock climbing and their Young Adventurers Club. And that one-on-one time they've been spending together has kind of drawn them closer. So he's been having in his mind that he wants to kind of get to know her a bit better outside of the club. And he doesn't really know how to approach doing that because he doesn't think that she feels the same way. But just to get a better idea of Zachary and his family dynamic, this is Zachary's family home, but he doesn't typically live here during the week. Typically, Zachary boards on campus at Windenburg Global. He has a room that he sleeps in there, and he rooms and boards there during the whole week. And then on the weekend, he comes home to his mom and stepdad's house and his stepbrother Bray. So this is Bray over here. And I'm gonna get him before he goes to bed because it looks like our fine sir here put on a face mask and is about to go to sleep. But this is Zachary's stepbrother Bray. Bray and Zachary do not get along at all, and it's just because they kind of are at odds with each other personality-wise, just the type of people they are. Bray has always been kind of like the most popular kid in the room. He never has any problems making any friends, getting dates, doing, well in sports. He's just like that absolute popular kid, unapproachable, person that you remember from high school that, everybody wants to be friends with, everybody admires. That's Bray. And Zachary's just been the opposite of that. He's the guy that flies under the radar, that people tend to ignore, a little bit clumsy, a little bit shy. That is Zachary. And their two differing personalities have put them at odds a lot. Zachary kind of feels a lot in Bray's shadow when they are living near each other or in the same household. It's part of the reason why Zachary has chosen to board on campus. He doesn't want the comparisons between Bray and himself. A lot of times people don't know that Zachary and Bray are actually stepbrothers and not biological brothers, which is another sticking point for Zachary. He doesn't feel close to Bray like that, because Bray is actually not really that nice to him. He kind of picks on him a lot, makes him the butt of his jokes, and does things at his expense because Zachary is very self-conscious and shy, and so he kind of makes it very easy for Bray to get his goat, as they say. So Zachary doesn't really appreciate that. As soon as they moved to Windenburg, he decided to live on campus instead of commuting from home, because he just wants to be able to find his own identity and have his own space separate from his stepbrother, who it just seems like whenever he's around, he sucks all the air out of the room and all the attention towards him, and Zachary just doesn't really like that. And we have Zachary's stepdad over here, Callum. Ooh, he's in the bathroom. we got Cal over here. Cal is actually part of like a band. He used to travel around the world with him and Bray. It's part of the reason why his first marriage failed, because his first wife just wasn't about the whole on the lam type of life. They got divorced, and so Bray and Callum spent a lot of Bray's younger days just traveling around the world and seeing everything. It wasn't until, and it looks like Zachary's mom is not home. Where is she? Oh yeah, she is. It is until he met Catherine. Well, she was Chestnut. She's Burns now because she married him and changed her name. Catherine Chestnut. He just really fell in love with her. He really thought that she just had this girl next door vibe that he just thought was so enthralling. And so she kind of convinced him to kind of slow down and to, give up his traveling around the world's days and settle down. So they live in this house in Windenburg together, and I will zoom out so you can see the house. I did not build this house. It came off of the gallery. If you guys want the deets on it, please let me know in the comment section below, and I'll drop the gallery ID information for this house. Isn't it gorgeous? It fits Windenburg's vibes so well. Just part of the reason why I wanted this to be their house. They decided to settle down in this little cute Windenburg home, the four of them. And the whole idea was for them to bond and settle down together. Zachary's kind of thrown a wrench in that because he lives on campus, but both Callum and Catherine kind of agreed to kind of let the boys suss out whatever type of teenage rivalry they've got between them, and their hope is that they'll eventually outgrow it and then they'll get to be a close family. But I mean, so far that's not really been working out. They still have a whole lot of differences between them. But this is the Chestnut Burns home that Zachary lives in. But I just wanted you guys to get a feel of Zachary, because with that little introduction, you could see things are kind of starting to heat up between him and Hana. And I just wanted you guys to get a feel for his family life, because his family's gonna factor in pretty soon here. So that's just a little bit of a foreshadow there. So look out for what I mean by that later in the episode. So it's pretty close to the end of the school day, and Hana, she's kind of been, keeping a radar on Zarya a little bit. Zarya is the school's headmaster's daughter. He's the person who remodeled Windenburg Global so that it could be in the state that it is now, so that students can start attending it. So Zarya is kind of like a big deal. She's got pretty rich, influential parents, and Hana's kind of really impressed by just kind of like the air that she puts on around. She seems very mature and put together, and so she's like, maybe I should sit down and just ask her some questions and some advice, because there are things that I've been feeling lately that I don't really have an answer for, or like a way to kind of suss through my feelings. So maybe Zarya can help me with that, because she seems pretty mature. So she found Zarya. It's kind of like free period at the end of the day. So Zarya's over here in the sitting area reading. So Hana decided to sit down with her and be like, hey Zarya, how are you? And just like try and get to know her a little bit. And she's like, I'm fine, what's going on? And she's like, Zarya, where are you going? Girl. Zarya.
Bruh.
Where'd she go? Girl. I need you to come right back. Okay, sorry about that. We had to change scenery for a minute because my game was just like not cooperating. So let's just say that Zarya got the feeling that Hana wanted to talk about something, and so they decide to step into this classroom to have like a private conversation. And so that is where we are now. Hana wants to start out with some pleasantries. She's like, where are you going?
Bruh.
Okay, just kidding. They are going to have the conversation in this office. Okay, let's just get this show on the road. So Hana's like, it really sucks that it's raining today. I'm way more of a fan of warm, sunny weather. And she's like, yeah, me too, but I get the feeling that that's not really what you want to talk about. And she's like, yeah, it really isn't. I actually want to ask your advice on something. And she's like, oh, does it have to do with Zachary? And she's like, why would you bring him up? Like, what do you mean? And so what Hana doesn't know is that Zarya has kind of been eyeing the interactions between her and Zachary and has been noticing that there might be a little bit something going on there. So Zarya has her suspicions that they both might have like feelings for each other. So that is where that presumption is coming from, but she doesn't want to push her too much. So she's like, oh, no reason. I just, just need me thinking out loud. And she's like, well, that aside, I did want to ask your advice about something when it comes to boys. And she's like, oh, what is it? And she's like, well, if, how do you know, or like, how would you go about trying to find out if a guy likes you, or like, what should I do in that area? And Zarya's like, well, if you think a guy likes you and you want to know if, there's something there, you should, hang out with him a little bit more. And she's like, well, should I just like go up to him, ask if he wants to hang out? And she's like, well, yeah. how else would you do it? She's like, I don't know, it's a bit weird. I've never really like had to think about these things before. She's like, look, just don't sweat it, hang out with him a bit, and then maybe when you feel more comfortable, ask him more prying questions about like how he feels about you, but don't sweat it too hard. And she's like, okay, I'll take your advice. She's all like, do you have any advice though about like how I should ask him to hang out? She's like, just do regular stuff, like ask him out for some food, or ask him out to hang and do homework, just regular stuff. Just, again, don't sweat it. Hana's like, okay, I'll try and do what you say. And just, I don't know, this is like different for me. And don't mind Hana. Every single time I send them to school, because they're in this, I put them in a club together so they can all be in school together, but it just strips all her skin details. Well, not all of them, just specifically her eyelashes. I don't know why. don't worry about that. Don't mind that. But anyway, Hana really does appreciate Zarya's advice, so she's like, I guess I'll just have to think of, a reason for Zachary and I to hang out so that I can kind of get a feel for what it is that I'm feeling, because Hana's still in the phase where she's not really trying to admit to herself that she has any type of feelings for Zachary. And as we all know, Zachary is feeling a little bit something, but he kind of is so shy and a little self-deprecating that he can't ever even like really wrap his head around the fact that maybe the girl he's interested in may also be interested in him back. So it's just an interesting, cute little puppy love situation going on there. But it's given a lot for Hana to think about, and she's thinking, hey, maybe I will, talk to Zachary after school tomorrow, because we don't have club tomorrow. So maybe I'll use that time to see, if he wants to hang out and do something, and then maybe I'll be able to figure out then if, he actually has feelings towards me. But she really did appreciate her conversation with Zarya, and she definitely wants to get to know Zarya a little bit more, because she's all like, Zarya just seems like a really cool person. I hope we can get to be better friends. We're in the same club together, but we just haven't had a moment. So I hope to have them have that, because I do want her to become better friends with the people in the club. Right now she's not really great friends with everybody in the club, and I do want to change that. But we will cut things here, and we will, get back with Hana after school tomorrow. So it is a Friday after school now, and Hana has completely worked herself up this whole time, just like trying to figure out the right way to get Zachary by himself to ask him if he wants to hang out and just do something. And she's just kind of turned it over and over in her head, trying to think, okay, maybe I can get him in this type of scenario and ask him for this and that. And it just got to a point where she's like, look, you are overthinking this. Just, wait till after school and then just ask him to hang back and then ask him then. So she has decided to do just that. It is after school, a Friday afternoon, and everybody has really kind of gotten their books and headed on out of the academy or ready to kind of just get their weekend started. But Hana's like, oh, I need to really quickly ask Zachary this because I need to just do what Zarya said and just spend a little bit more one-on-one time with him. That's not just helping him getting better at working out and getting his rock climbing skill up for the club. Just like regular us just hanging out. For me to just really disseminate what I've been feeling and all of this. But she really legit has butterflies going on in her stomach right now. So she is super nervous to ask him. So she's like, Zachary, just hold on a second. I wanted to ask you something real quick. She's already a little bit, flirty. She's all like, how's your day been? He's like, it's been great. And she's like, well, I just wanted to ask you real quick, do you have any plans this weekend? And he's like, no, just the typical thing. I'm just gonna catch up on homework this weekend and maybe watch a movie or whatnot. Nothing too fancy. He's like, do you have any plans? She's like, no, but I know this is kind of weird to ask. It's Friday, and I know you probably might have other things going on, but would it be okay if I came over to your place so we could do homework together? And he's like, homework? I mean, it's Friday. You really sure you want to spend your Friday afternoon doing homework? And she's like, yeah, I know it's weird, but there's this problem that I'm, having trouble with, and Windenburg's so far away from Mount Komorebi. I don't really want to have to take the bullet train to kind of come back and ask you some other time. So I figured after school today would be good. Is that okay? Can I come over to your place maybe? I know you go back home to your parents' place on the weekends and you're not at the boarding school. I mean, I'm not imposing, am I? And Zachary does go home on the weekends, even though Windenburg Global is a boarding school and he does live and sleep at the boarding school. It's only during the week that he boards there. During the weekend, he goes home and spends time with his family. So since it's Friday, he normally, packs, a weekend bag and he'll go over to his folks' place and he'll stay there for the weekend. But, so that is where he's headed off after school today, and so he's a little bit nervous. He's like, oh my gosh, she's gonna be coming over to my house, and I don't know how it's gonna be. I don't typically have people over. I don't like to have people over when everybody's home, especially with Bray being there. I just don't know. And she's like, if it's too much of an imposition, then never mind. I guess we'll just figure it out on Monday. But Zachary's kind of seeing this as a chance. He's all like, I mean, she's never asked to hang out with me like this, and what if I don't ever get another chance like this? And he's like, no, it's okay. It's not imposing. You can come over to do homework and just let me know what it is you're having problems with. I mean, it's strange that you'd be having problems with anything you normally are pretty good. And she's like, yeah, that's why, I wanted to get your attention on this, right now, because I don't like being stuck on things. And he's like, yeah, I mean, we can go over to my place. Is now okay? She's like, yeah. And then maybe, afterwards we could hang out a bit before I head home since it is Friday. And he's like, yeah, of course. And I think they both kind of have butterflies in the floaties right now. So, they're both excited though to hang out with each other. So they're about to head over there right now and get things started. Oh, so sweet. These two are so cute. Hana gave him a hug and said, thank you for, taking the time out to help me with this. I really do appreciate it. And he's like, yeah, of course. But internally, Zachary's doing some backflips. But the reason why he looks like this is that he's really nervous to have Hana over at his place because of his stepbrother Bray. And as we've already gone over earlier in this episode, they've kind of got like a weird rivalry about them, and he doesn't want Hana to see that dynamic between them, so he's very, very nervous, and he's a little bit, what's the right word? He's kind of dreading what could go wrong in a situation, but we will have to see that in just a second. I'll get back with you guys. Right, let me head back to Zachary's house. So we are at the Burns residence, and they both are feeling nervous for different reasons. Hana's feeling a bit nervous because this is the first time she's been over at Zachary's house, and kind of like an intimate setting, and not, on the basis of anything like helping him in the club. And Zachary is nervous because he's afraid of what interactions Hana might have with his family, specifically his stepbrother Bray. So Hana's like, where do you want me to go? Should I head up to your room to, for us to study? He's like, oh, no, not my room. He almost had like a slight heart attack of what that could lead to or whatnot. He's like, no, you can kind of set up shop on the kitchen table. I'm going to just go ahead and just say hi to my parents because, since I don't see them during the week, the weekend, it's typically go a week before I see them. I'm away for school during that time. So I'm just going to, check in with them, and then I will, meet you at the kitchen table to do our homework together. And she's like, okay, that sounds good. But really, like, Zachary's going to just be scoping first to see if his parents are even home, and second to check in with Bray to make sure that he keeps his distance, because he doesn't want Bray to ruin whatever might be in store. He is just nervous about that. So he's like, yeah, go ahead, head into the kitchen and I will meet you there. So that is what Hana is going to do. Hey guys, so I hate to end things on a bit of a cliffhanger here, but it's another instance where I recorded a lot of material for this one episode, so I'm going to have to split things in two. So let me know in the comments down below, what do you anticipate is going to happen on this little homework date between Hana and Zachary? Do you think things are going to start to heat up, or will things fizzle out? I'll be interested to hear your guys' thoughts in the comment section down below. But as always, guys, stay safe, stay healthy, and of course, stay dazzled. I will see you in the next one. Bye.
Never be cool.